The Michigan Wedding Podcast is brought to you by RDS Films and Michael's Entertainment. Well, welcome to the Michigan Wedding Podcast, designed for couples curious to learn more about the people who make up the Michigan wedding industry on a deeper and more personal level. Today, I'm here at the Creekside Acres event barn in Goodrich, Michigan, just about 25 miles from the Metro Detroit area. And on 25 acres up here with the owner, Lee, as well as the wedding planner, Olivia.
Hi.
And thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you so much.
Our pleasure, seriously. So, Lee, it's really great to meet you in person for the first time. I mean, I've been doing events here with you guys since you guys started doing them. And Olivia's always here rocking the show. She's always here the hours before anybody else, getting it all ready. And she's the last person to leave right after I roll off with my little DJ cart. But I understand you and your son actually built this.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about, like, how did you come up with the idea?
In 2015, my son got married in a barn. And it was fun, but there were some deficiencies.
Okay.
And he wanted, after the wedding, we decided, Corey goes, Dad, that's an opportunity for us. We're both in the building industry. Let's look at something. So we looked for land, and then this piece of property came along, and that one thing led to another, and we bought we bought 25 acres.
What did it look like when you first got it?
All woods. This was all woods. There was nothing here.
This was a tree right where I'm sitting.
There was a bunch of trees. A bunch of trees. So we cut them all. Him and I cut down all this, hauled it all away.
Chainsaws?
Yep. Him and I chainsaws and cut it down. We put them in big dumpsters, and a guy come in and hauled it all away. And then we got plans drawn up, and this is what we built.
How tall are these ceilings?
28 foot to the center.
So you were up on some big ladders putting those panels in, huh?
No, scissor lifts.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, it's beautiful. You guys did an awesome job. And
thank you.
What a cool bonding experience for you and your boy, too.
Year and a half.
Took you a year and a half.
Yep, from one time we bought it till we got it open, yes, it was a year and a half. Going through all the permits, getting drawings, building it.
So I know when some people build some things, they hide some stuff behind a wall or anything like that. Nothing, no secrets.
No secrets.
Just curious.
The only secret is that darn tank that's in that room. That was a late add-on.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it in there.
I didn't check it out. What's the tank about? Tell
It's a
the listeners.
5,000 gallon suppression tank. Because when we first started, they said we didn't have to have one.
Oh.
Then we had to add it, and the walls were already up.
Suppression, help me, what's a suppression tank?
It's in case of a fire.
Oh.
Code now requires anything over 100 people has to have a suppression system in it.
So
as soon as one of them heads go off, 5,000 gallons spray this building.
oh, man. Bring your bathing suit when that happens.
Yeah, and it won't stop till it burns out.
Oh, well, hey.
Or until somebody shuts it off.
So just another level of safety,
Yes.
Thanks to Uncle Sam or whatever.
It's smart, though, because you got people drinking, and you want them to get out. You don't want nobody getting hurt.
Yep.
From what I hear, some places they did have an accident, and people were burned to death. So, yes, let's be safe.
Better safe than sorry.
You don't want your wedding day to be marred by something stupid.
Yeah, no way. So, Sweet Rustic Charm, that's whenever I get emails, because you always reach out, like whenever we have an event here, like a couple weeks before, and you kind of check all the details. Smart. And I always see in your signature, it says Sweet Rustic Charm. So, help me understand, like, the business relationship between Sweet Rustic Charm and Creekside Acres.
Yeah, so I actually have my own company, which is the Sweet Rustic Charm. We are an event planning and design company. So we do in-house coordination, event rentals, and all the florals. So we were pretty much 3 vendors in one. And how we got together was I was doing research as a good wedding planner would do, and their venue had popped up in my area as something new. So I set up a tour to meet with them, and we just got to talking and did a couple meetings and just figured, with what I do and their space, it would be a great fit. So they decided to include all my coordination services with every couple that books their wedding here.
What a deal.
It's a win-win for both of us.
So what do you guys, I guess, get out of it most working with Olivia? Besides charming personality and
Thank you.
Sweet Rustic Charm.
We don't have to be here. Because for 19, my son and I were here for every wedding.
So you were managing the events
In
and
19,
Okay.
when we first started, yes, him and I, unless they rented her, her services, my son or I would let them in, come over, make sure they all got out, and no thanks. I have a full-time job. I didn't want to be over here all the time. And it worked out for both of us.
Yeah.
Yep. So I get to be their eyes and ears day of and make sure, their place is taken care of. We don't have to worry about things happening. And I also get to help the clients make sure they're having the day they want to have.
That's perfect. So you still handle the tours,
Yes.
you and your son, or just?
No, my son does the bookings and all the electronic stuff. That's more his gig. I come and do the tours on Sunday. I enjoy that. I enjoy meeting the people. I enjoy talking to them, the couples, their families, the excitement that they have. And, I explain what we can do for them, how we do it. I explain Olivia, I explain the services that we offer. I mean, we can make it stress-free for you. If you want Olivia to do everything for you, you just show up. We tell them when it comes to food, you can get whoever you want for caterers. You can get whoever you want for anything. The only thing that we do require is one of our 3 bartenders, because we had an issue with a bartender
Yes.
That's what she was telling me.
getting
yeah.
drunk at 9:30, passed out in the corner.
No.
Yeah, and the father called me and said, "Hey, I need a bartender." I said, "You ain't gonna get one tonight, sir."
Last minute?
Yeah, it was 9:30 at night, and the guy was passed out in the corner.
Oh, boy.
He was having a tough day. So they called an Uber and sent him home.
Wow.
So the dad served the rest of the night.
What a champ.
So we decided just to get 3 good bartenders that we have, and we know them. She knows them. It's a perfect fit for us.
For sure.
Anything else, they're more than free to use anybody they want.
But for the liability, when it comes to that,
Yes.
keep it a little more
Correct.
tight. Yeah.
Yep.
I see on your website that you kind of advertise yourselves as sort of a DIY sort of venue.
Yep.
But like you were saying, and what we've experienced, Olivia does so much from the coordinating and keeping the ball rolling. I guess my question is, where does the service that you provide come in, and where does the DIY start?
So the service comes in an aspect where I pretty much handle the logistics. That's the part, let's be honest, no one likes. No one wants to sit there and figure it out when everyone's going to come or what time they need to be there. They get answered those questions so much. So I always like to sit down with the couples. First thing, once they booked the venue, I figure out a timeline for them, what's going to work for them. I figure out kind of the layout. I make a custom layout for each couple that comes here, so they can use the space however they want. That's where it comes in the DIY aspect of, how do you want your space laid out? When do you want to do your ceremony? We can do it, but I take care of all the logistics for you. And then just prior to the wedding, like you had said, because I call you, just double check everything for them. They book all their own vendors, whoever they'd like to book. I just double check their work. And then when they show up day of, they don't have to do anything. They're not making sure the DJ showed up on time, the photographer's here, centerpieces. I take care of all of that so they can just relax, enjoy the day with their family, and, not have to worry about a thing. But they can do all the hard work prior to of picking out everything they want, but I take care of everything on the day of.
That's awesome. Yeah. And we've seen it ourselves
that
you're just a rock star for these couples.
Thank you.
They love you. You can really see, and you can tell you love them too.
I do too. I spent so much time with them, and it is such an important day, and you can't redo it. So you have to be spot on day of and just take care of it all.
For sure. And so let's say help because I know you have some meetings too. So a couple comes in, you give them a tour, and they're like, "Hey Lee, we want to book." So they book with you. Then when does the handoff come for Olivia?
So once they call us, I tell them, go to our website, send an email to my son, say, "Hey, we're interested in this date." We'll send them a contract. Once they send us the deposit, the information automatically gets sent to her right away, and then she schedules it. Between the 2 of them, they schedule when they can meet.
Yep.
So you have a meeting, and
Yep.
then so when you're getting together, you're like, "Hey," so how does that meeting typically go?
So normally I have them come back to the barn, because who doesn't want to visit their wedding venue multiple times? Because
sure.
let's be honest, everyone likes to come see their space and show it off to their family once they've booked it.
Yeah.
So they come, we sit down, and I actually have a personalized program online called Aisle Planner that wedding planners can get, and I love it because it's all online based. So everything that you would normally get in your traditional wedding binder book, it's all in there, from the checklist, your custom timeline, your custom layout, managing your guest list. All those features are there. So I show them how to do that. I input the information with them.
That's sweet.
It's also a communication tool. They can message me through that.
It's kind of a hub.
Yeah, I also have his son Corey on there too. So if there's ever a question about, what time do they have something going on or things like that. They can all look in there too and see it so that they know what's going on at their venue as well. So if there's any question, they can call me and obviously reach out to me, but everything's in there too for them so they can always double check all the work.
And you guys run a tight ship with all that stuff.
You have to.
Yes.
We want to make it as stress-free as possible for the bride and groom. There's a lot of stress for them on that day.
Oh, yeah.
She takes that off them.
For sure.
Yes.
That's awesome. So I guess like when we've done events here, it's always been a little bit different. And I guess it makes sense because like you said, you kind of give them a chance to make some of their own decisions with layout. What are some of your favorite, I guess, layouts that you've experienced? And maybe we could talk about the ceremonies as well as the receptions.
Yep. So outside, when it comes to the ceremony, there's usually a couple different options I like to suggest. I also kind of change them up based on the time of year, because obviously we're every single day of the year we can do an event. So, we've got wildflowers in the spring that are beautiful. In the fall, we've got some really pretty cattails out there. So depending on what the backdrop is, we can really like tweak where we lay everything out so that they get the best aesthetics for their ceremony. And then when we come inside, we just try to mimic that based on how many people they're having. I do find the mixture of round versus long tables is becoming very popular with our couples, because it gives a way to put your larger groups of family or friends at those big tables together, and then maybe just some smaller groups at the round ones. So it just makes it a little more intimate too.
That's like, Richard's getting aggressive, getting some behind the scenes shots back there. That was the not letting a chair or table get in his way. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
They jumped out and bit him.
So a lot of times couples ask us, knowing that we've been in the business for a decade now, and so hey, what's like the best wedding venue? And I'm always kind of frustrating to those people because I tell them, well, the question really isn't what's the best, it's what's the best wedding venue for you, because every couple's different. What you're looking for, every venue is going to give you something a little bit different. So I guess all that buildup is to ask this question. So with what type of couple seems to be the best fit for Creekside Acres?
I find the best couples that are, for Creekside are the ones that are looking for either a casual type feel wedding or a semi-formal. When I say semi-formal, it's in the aspect of they still want some of the traditional elements. They still want to feel like nice and elegant, but they want to still have fun. They don't want to have the traditional setup where everything is organized by the minute. They just want to feel like they can come, have a good time with their friends and family, and just really enjoy their day. So those are the ones I find that it's the best fit.
And when you say organized by the minute, you mean like kind of like they get the whole day, right?
They get the whole day, yeah. So when people rent here at Creekside, they get it from 9 in the morning till midnight to have their reception, and then our vendors have till 1 a.m. to gather up their stuff. So we give our vendors an hour for cleanup time for them. So it's nice because you do get the facility for the full day, and you can really just take your time and relax in the morning in the bridal suite, get ready, have some mimosas with your bridesmaids, have the groomsmen come in later, start taking pictures. We've got lawn games that are included that are outside. So you really get more of that relaxed, almost at-home feel, but it's not your house and you have to do the cleanup.
Which is nice.
Yes.
So, yeah, and that's a nice thing because it's a place where you can enjoy the classy, sweet rustic charm of the experience, but at the same time, you're not like stressed out oh man, we gotta get in there because we're only gonna have this much time to set up.
No.
You got a beautiful bridal suite we were just hanging out in a little while ago, and when you were walking us around. You built that as well?
We built it, but the ladies designed it. The wives designed it.
That's probably the best for the best. Yeah.
Everything else we took care of. They took care of the bathroom and that was their two things.
I am just still so blown away that you and your son built this thing with your own two hands.
We built a lot of it. Yes, I mean the framing, no, but
and you mentioned the cement that the state.
The cement, yeah, but we had a guy frame it. But yes, we did a lot of the work in here.
Yeah, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in here.
A lot of swearing.
Every good building has to start with some foul language while it's being built. That's what my daddy always said. So, what are some of your favorite compliments that you guys have heard from couples that have gotten married here?
I think some of the favorite ones that I've had, it's always at the end of the evening when it's the couple and their family and they're kind of taking out the last few things, and then they come and I, just double check, make sure they got everything they need, and they just tell me that, it was true that their wedding was stress-free and they really just got to enjoy it how they wanted it, and everything just fell into place and they didn't have to worry about a thing. That's always what makes me feel good, is that at the end of the night, they loved it. It was exactly what they wanted, and they just enjoyed their day.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want to hear.
Exactly. Word of mouth. Word of the mouth is the easiest way to book the barn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, my wedding was sweet, and they're
Yep.
like, well, let's talk to them.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And it's nice too, because we actually have had ones that have been here. The few weddings we were able to do in 2020 due to COVID, they recommended us, and we now have some of their friends and family getting married here in 21, 22, and even 23 now. So we just had a few 23 bookings. So it's kind of nice that we're getting.
23.
I know. It's just really nice to kind of see, friends and family that want to come back because they were a guest and they enjoyed the experience as well.
Do you have any dates available still this year?
We have literally a handful left. It's going to be more towards later of the year. But there is still some. Definitely 22 is kind of really where we're at, and we're really booking that out, and we're getting close to being sold out in our peak season for 22.
That makes sense with everything, all the dates
Yes.
piling up.
Everybody moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
What's your guys' website? If people are listening or interested right now, where can they find you? Because I know bookings are going quickly, obviously. So as soon as they hear this, they're probably going to want to get on the horn. So send them to the right place.
CreeksideAcresBarn.com.
Yeah, and we'll have that link below as
Yep.
well. But for those that are listening on the podcast, there you go. So you'd mentioned earlier, before we started rolling, that one of the things that kind of drew you to Olivia when you were deciding on bringing her on like you did was that she had worked at events in Disney World. That's pretty sweet. I learned something new about you today.
yeah, I know Lee always loves to tell everyone about that.
I tell everybody.
He does, because I obviously, if you've met someone that works for Disney, you kind of already know what you're getting with that. If just the service level that is ingrained in you, and it definitely, my experience there and everything I learned just helped me be better at my job. They raised the bar in every aspect. So I was very lucky there. I got to work in operations a lot, and I've got to be at the wedding chapel, and I worked at the Grand Floridian for a long period of time, and I really got to see the whole aspects of everything that they did there. I worked in the operations end, but I was very lucky where my boss knew my background in events, so she helped me kind of get into planning some of our internal parties. So I actually got to plan a lot of like Christmas parties, retirement parties, for Disney, for like our cast members and things like that, just to make them feel special. And obviously, because I do love decorating as well, it was always nice because she would literally just be like, well, Olivia's going to get the whole day off and she's just going to decorate and we're just going to do whatever she tells us to do. So it was always enjoyable.
Basically what we do now too.
You've taken the role of Disney in the.
Yeah.
Wow, that is huge, because everybody knows the standard that Disney sets as a company. So to be able to bring that up to Michigan,
Yes.
Yeah. So it's definitely, it's obviously a big selling point for myself, and I hold my team to that level too of, it's doing what's right for that person and standing by them and doing the right thing, regardless of what the situation may be, just doing the right decision always.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you guys doing events?
The only one I ever had was the bartender.
That's a big one. Yeah.
That's the only one I ever had.
Yeah, I'm very lucky here. I've not had any issues. I've had some crazy times, but I would say it's more of crazy request I get. I would say my most extravagant, request was I had a couple that wanted to come in to their wedding on a helicopter.
Oh wow!
We were able to find it. We did it.
Really? Where did it touch?
Unfortunately, it
Not
wasn't here.
No.
It was at a private home, and these people, that's what they wanted. So they lived on 50 acres, so they had more than enough room. But yeah, that was probably the craziest request I've ever gotten, I think, in my whole career.
So the bride and groom came down
They came down and
together, like holding on.
they were inside a helicopter, and it landed, and they walked out, and they greeted their guest, and yeah, that's.
How do you deal with the local authorities with that?
Well, when you live on 50 acres, it's
And
not.
you can afford that.
And they could have, yeah.
There's no problem
But
with that.
still, you're just going to fly a helicopter on your...
Well, that's the perk of actually living out towards this area. I grew up out here too, and the people out here just have more room, so it's kind of, and it's a small community. Everyone knows each other, so when you do things like that, it's not
No one's looking to
no one's
get
really
you.
looking to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice because if people that have been out this area, not too far from here, there's a small town in Metamora. They do hot air balloon festivals in August.
I've seen them driving around.
So yeah, so you'll sometimes get those during that time. They'll come over this way and you'll see that. So there's a lot of unique things in this area. So that's why I think that's why I had that request.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
cool story. So, if you were to sum up your philosophy for running your business, how would you sum that up?
I guess for me, I just want to try to make their day as stress-free as possible and have it be something that they look back on and it was exactly what they wanted.
Yep.
Yep.
I want them to enjoy their time here and tell their friends.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, it's been really fun talking with you guys, and as we're kind of wrapping up together, kind of a question that is looming on a lot of people's minds. Let's say someone has an event here and the restrictions due to COVID happen. What kind of options do you guys have to accommodate those challenges?
Well, we're working with each couple individually and seeing, based on what the restrictions are and what they want for their wedding, what we need to adjust for that. So it's really, there's no blanket answer that we can give because each couple's different, each wedding is different. So, we just do the best that we can with everything going on to accommodate everything.
Yeah, good answer. And you have outside capabilities?
We had a tent this summer out there,
Perfect.
Yes.
So if it comes down to it,
and they want it. We had a tent out there.
Yep.
perfect, yeah. There you go. And I think that's a lot of people like hearing that because if a venue only has an inside capability,
Yes.
you're kind of stuck, unless you want to do it in the parking lot, which, hey, I guess you do what you got to do.
I think we're lucky enough where we've got the 25 acres where
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
have to do it in the parking lot. So
That's perfect.
And your guys' neighbors have been pretty cool, right?
We really don't have any neighbors. Our closest one's them houses back there, and we had a lady walk up here and say she enjoys it because they can hear the music on a Saturday night. They can sit on the back.
Yeah.
They can sit on their back patio and have a glass of wine, and the music's just loud enough that they can hear it. But we got the city hall here and a baseball field over there, so there's nobody around.
Wow.
It's very quiet here.
Because I know some venues in the metro deal with that, right, Seth?
Oh, yeah.
And you have to kind of turn down the party a little bit earlier. And so if you're out here, that's probably another advantage to your space.
yeah.
We had a band outside play,
That's awesome.
so they set the band up out there, so it was a good time.
Because I think bride and grooms don't realize how fast the night will go. And next thing you know, you're like, I want to dance one more hour.
Yep.
And when it's 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. or 12, that makes that difference sometimes when
Yep.
you're in that moment. So it's really cool to have that flexibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do.
And as you're walking out the doors at the end of the night, you're looking up, there's some nice stars up there to enjoy.
And very quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love this venue. I can honestly say I haven't been out here yet, but I'm super excited to see this place in action. And thank you guys for having us out here today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming out.
It's been a lot of fun. As we're kind of, in a minute, I know you got a lot going on, Lee, so we're going to say goodbye to you in a minute, keep Olivia on, and bring Richard out and just kind of powwow. But thank you for,
Thank you.
spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much.
Oh, hey, Richard.
What's up, guys? How we
Hey,
doing?
Richard. Welcome to the booth.
Thank you, guys. Feels good to be here again.
Yeah, you're looking great, as always.
Thank you, brother. You too, man.
You've been hitting the gym?
No, I don't work out, actually.
He's a monster. The people listening, you don't know how big Richard is.
No, stop it. Stop it. Thank you, guys, though.
Oh, he was out. I saw you. I saw you picking up some stuff back there.
Doing a few push-ups. Nothing crazy.
So what'd you think about the podcast?
Really good job, guys. Really good job.
Yeah, Lee's the man.
He's awesome. So he built this place from scratch.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. Very few people I can think can ever say, oh, I built my own venue.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
that goes a long
Yeah.
way, and it is beautiful in here. I love this place.
Yeah.
I love this place.
I built a little shed in my backyard, and I was so fulfilled by that, and I can't imagine what you'd feel if you hammered the nails in throughout here. you know?
Right.
And then you had the city after you just for that location. Can you imagine everything that they had to
Oh,
go through
yeah.
with the city
Oh,
and the
yeah.
county
Shoot.
and the
Oh, yeah.
state, all the regulations. So you're jumping through hoops to have something as nice as this. So
And that's a lot of people, don't realize, like, when someone puts a year and a half of their life into building something that the community can use, you're creating value for everybody. So it's like the Michigan wedding industry wouldn't have this as an option had those human beings not started off with an idea and you know,
Yeah, it's special, super special.
it's beautiful. Hey, it's America the Beautiful, the place where you can do stuff like that, you know?
Yep, for sure.
So, I guess let's jump into, you know, what have you guys been thinking lately? I know you guys are always,
We got some weddings coming up. We're excited. You know, April's here basically, and we're ready to fire the season up for us at least. I know March is quiet on our end, but tell us, Richard, a little bit about a gig you got coming up.
Yeah. So in the next few weeks, we'll be out in Traverse City. Really looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. We're at the Stafford Perry Hotel. So right outside of Traverse City, but up in that general area. It's a couple weeks from now. I'm looking forward to that. Really am. After that, next couple weeks, a few other things, but
yeah, well, fingers crossed. We got a couple weddings lined up, and gonna break the monotony of the past few months.
right.
Yes.
How about you, Olivia? Anything?
I'm just ready. I've got a wedding in a few weeks, and then pretty much once April starts, I'll start my season, and then I'm just ready for a nice full year and gonna enjoy it. Definitely ready to do some of these weddings. I have some clients for a while now, and I'm really ready to actually do the wedding and actually see the vision come to life.
Yeah, it's so exciting when that finally happens.
Yeah.
Especially with all the delays. You're like, come on.
Right,
Yes.
right. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But man, I think those people are gonna be ready to party though.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
definitely,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
I feel like this year's going to be very rowdy, which I'm not surprised. I'm just mentally prepared for it at this point and just going to let people have a good time.
Yeah, I feel like every wedding's going to be top tier this
Hey,
year.
and if you're listening to this and you're going to be a guest at a wedding this year and the next year, be a good little boy and be a good little girl for those bride and grooms. They've gone through so much to get to this point, obviously. So,
Right.
so you know,
Don't be shy. Get out there on the dance floor. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's gonna be cocktail hour, you know, and people are gonna be grooving. It's gonna be, hey, it's not time yet. It's like, I know it's been just so long.
Yeah. It's like, do I remember how to do that?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
well, hey, Richard, we want to jump into our tip of the day. I know we haven't got there yet. We can-
Yeah,
let's
but-
talk about our tip of the day. You want to start it out?
Sure, why not? So we were talking about beauty earlier with this venue, right? So let's cover that a bit more. Today's tip of the day is essentially make sure you talk to your DJ about their presentation. You guys put so much work and time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears into making sure your venue looks perfect for your big day, right? So whether it's a DIY place like Creekside Acres where you literally put in hours to make sure your venue looks perfect, or if it's a different venue where you maybe pump in some money, some high top dollar to have other people come in and make sure it looks perfect. The big picture is make sure you talk to your DJ about their presentation to make sure their equipment, their setup, their attire matches the vibe you're going for your venue. So make sure they're coming in a well-dressed suit like Seth or myself here, and along with that, make sure their equipment looks nice too. So no wires going all throughout their setup, taped down nicely, no tripping hazards. So today's tip of the day, ask your DJ about their presentation.
That's awesome.
Great tip.
I
Love it.
definitely agree, especially obviously seeing weddings. You can imagine there is those ones that don't, and believe me, it'll throw the aesthetics off, and they've put so much effort into making sure their day looks beautiful. So
Right.
definitely have DJs that take care of the equipment like you guys do, and you do
thank
all
you.
the proper steps. It's always a pleasure to work with you guys. You always have the guest out there on the dance floor the whole time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
And it's
that.
nice because the events we have done together, each wedding's been a little bit different, and it's not like you guys have just a set playlist you play. You definitely tweak it, and so people are out there the whole time, and which makes you guys some of the best DJs out there.
Thanks,
Thank
Olivia.
You. That means a lot, actually.
Hey, Seth, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have multiple like skirt options. Like I've seen you guys do like a white outside. I've seen you do a black. I've seen you do like a wood paneling.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you've showed photos to your clients, and so maybe they see one of those photos and they're like, hey, I want the black skirt or I want the white skirt. And I think that's beautiful to give that option because as a videographer, we have to set up equipment with you, right?
Yeah.
And we have some stuff kind of on your table usually. And it's nice when the DJ has a skirt because then my job's a little bit easier now as a videographer because my stuff's hidden. You're making me look good. And so that's a great thing. And so I always appreciate that as a videographer.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rocky. And it's just a facade. You know, you can get a cheap one for $150. You know, the ones you can build it yourself, or you know, spend $350 if you want a really nice one. But it's not a really big deal.
And that's a good tip for new DJs starting out. Like, hey, that's a small investment to take you to the next step, that next level.
Right.
Presentation is so important.
And it's true for everybody.
Yes.
You know, I mean, with videographers as well. One of the things I've always admired about you is that you show up and you're you're wearing a nice collared shirt. You're wearing.
I'm always in full suit.
dress.
Today I'm in a collared shirt because I'm the one setting up all this equipment for this show. But I'd be sweating with a tie on.
Well, yeah,
but
you're fully suited, looking sharp.
yep.
And that's kind of a contrast to some out there that show up in jeans.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's very true.
And maybe in some cases the bride and groom say, "Hey, this is a jeans party."
Yes.
And we've had those.
I've had those too. Yes, and that's totally fine.
That's different because you want to obviously do what your client wants.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You want to fit the feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the bride's wearing jeans and you're wearing, a suit, you might kind of look. Who knows? But yeah, be cognizant of
Yes.
of those things.
Yeah.
Maybe don't show up looking all scraggly.
Yeah, I agree. I know for myself, I always try to, because I know what their color scheme is, I always try to match my outfit to the color scheme because it helps me
Ooh.
kind of blend in and not stick out then.
like
Because
that.
I'm there working it, I'm supposed to blend in. They're not really supposed to see me noticing because it's all about the couple. It's about them sticking out. So,
But sure, it just shows that
Yeah.
you're paying attention.
yes, the details.
Right.
Absolutely. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, Rocky, have you been thinking about anything you want to share when it comes to hiring a videographer?
Yeah, so my video tip of the day is, this might be obvious, but check availability. Make sure your videographer is available. And here's a tip for you. The good ones get booked out at least a year to sometimes 2, sometimes 3 years in advance.
Especially nowadays.
So, think about that. If videography is important to you, and I hope it is, find a company or find an individual that you really like and make sure that they're available. That's my tip of the day. And obviously that goes along with photography, DJs, any service you get.
Venues.
Yes.
Just because you like the place doesn't mean they're going to be open for
Yeah.
you. There's a lot of people out there trying to book and have a beautiful day for themselves. So availability seems like an obvious one, but at the same time, you got to check the details. And with the bigger companies, there's some awesome companies out there with some awesome videographers. Make sure that you know which one is coming out for you. Ask to interview with them, see their work. I think that's really important. So that's my video tip of the day for you guys.
Thanks, Rocky.
Love it. Thank you, man.
Yeah, and it's huge because you were saying
Yeah. 2023
or not?
Yeah,
23.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yep.
within the past few weeks, we actually have booked a few weddings out for 2023. I always, certain months always book out way quicker than others. We find here, actually at Creekside, Saturdays in June book about 2 to 2.5 years in advance. A Saturday in June. I don't know why that's always the first one. Great. And then after that, our October Saturdays are next to go.
Yep.
It's the weather. It has to be.
It's got to be the
It has
weather.
to be the
It
weather.
has to be the weather, but
Yeah.
yeah. I think for me, I always try to tell clients if they haven't found their venue yet, take the time, figure out obviously what venue you want, and be flexible with your date.
Yep.
They might not have that specific day in September you want, but if they have something else in September, or they have something like maybe in October or August, be a little bit flexible, because at the end of the day, your venue is going to dictate a lot of what you're going to need for services, decor. It's going to
yeah.
end up dictating
Yep.
a lot with your budget. So if you find a venue you love with, then, be a little bit flexible on the date.
100%.
No doubt. I've actually got something I've been thinking about lately. I saw on one of the Facebook pages, a bride was asking, hey, I want to do this, this, and this, but it's really expensive. Is it worth it? And, that's kind of a loaded question. But I typed out a response, and it was something to, I'm paraphrasing, but basically, hey, if you've got the disposable income so that you're not going to be shooting yourself in your proverbial financial foot. You're not, if it's one of those things where you either buy a house, like put down a down payment on a house,
Yeah.
or get your dream wedding. Well,
Yes.
maybe you should get the house
Yeah.
and hold off on the dream wedding for when you can afford it.
Yeah.
But if it's not a matter of that, if you got the money for it, get what you want. Spend that money. I
Yes.
was talking to Rocky and I were playing pickleball.
I was just about to bring that story up, actually.
Well, I don't want to steal your thunder. Go ahead.
No. You take it, because it was really funny, and it's funny because she was in the 80s when she got married or something.
Yeah,
So
30
the
years
technology is a
ago,
little bit
40.
different, but even then she was like, I remember having an opportunity to hire a company that had bigger cameras at the time, and I regret doing it because it was so much money at the time. And she's like, and I think that's what's so amazing about what we do now, because it is a little bit more affordable, but you're getting such great production value.
Right, because she said she wished that she would have gotten a wedding video, but she didn't. She didn't get one because she's like, man, I spent all this money, I got all these things, but for some reason, when it came to the videographer, I decided to say, never mind.
Yeah.
Now, decades later, she's like, man, all those cool things that happened, I wish I could. I mean, I remember them, but I wish I could see them again.
Yeah, I think that's a big question I also get too. They're like, is it worth getting a videographer? And I'm always like, you can always get it and not watch the video, but you can't ever get that back of.
I love that.
Yeah.
You just can't. Once it's gone, it's gone. So, worst case, you might have spent some money on it and you think, oh, well.
One thing I always tell my bride and grooms is think about how many videos do you have of your parents like on video, dressed to the nines, with everybody, the entire family, with their voice audible, with the video. How many of that do you have that's not an iPhone Snapchat video or something quick while you're camping or with the family? I think it's just so special because you put your cameras away. You don't have to think about it. You have this awesome, amazing crew, and they're capturing the people you love the most on really nice cameras with really nice mics. And you're going to look back 30, 40, 50 years from now and see them and hear them. And that right there is priceless. I mean, it makes me emotional thinking about that. Like, I'm a videographer and I don't have that much stuff with my mom actually. And I've been thinking about doing a huge project with my mom and dad and just like interviewing them and just getting them to talk about memories on camera, just so when that time comes, like I have that in the digital world. It's on my computer and I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And especially grandma and grandpa, like and older folks.
Yes.
Hey, look them dancing.
Those anniversary dances, you get grandma out there with 50 years together and you're like, holy moly. I mean, that I always get emotional when I see that.
And that's the way I see video too, because like looking back at, let's say, like my parents' wedding, I've seen pictures and all this stuff, but having actual footage, the actual day, so you can actually relive it is just, to me, like you said, priceless.
And like you said, park it on the shelf for 30 years, right? Yeah. Fine, maybe it's not too entertaining to you right now, but 30 years from now, it's going to be.
Yeah,
right.
You're definitely going to want to share it down there. And you're going to want to show your kids, especially once they get engaged, and you'd be like, here's my wedding video, and let me show you what I did. Exactly. Whether they want to watch it or not. I mean, you can relive the experience with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it's been a lot of fun hanging with you guys. I guess as we're kind of wrapping up together, any other thoughts that you guys want to share?
No, I'm good.
I'm good. It's been wonderful.
If you guys are interested, my name is Rocky at RDS Films, RDS_films, RDSfilms.com, 248-225-1459. You can call me directly. We'd be happy to help. We're booking into 22, 23, and 24 now. 21 obviously is a little bit sold out, but we might have a couple Fridays and Sundays in there for you. But just wanted to make sure you guys knew who I was and had my contact so I can be a resource for you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Rocky. Awesome. Well, you got Seth here and Ridger with Michael's Entertainment, Olivia with Sweet Rustic Charm and Creekside Acres, and we're peacing out, guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Nice job.
Thank you, guys.
Good
A lot of fun.
Great.
Awesome.
Of course, the DJs.